Hello, I'm Mike Farmilo. I'm the winemaker for Maison Eros, based in McLaren Vale, South Australia, just a little bit south of Adelaide. I have had over 45 years experience in making wine, previously having worked for the Southcore group as chief red winemaker, looking after products such as Penfolds Grange and Penfolds St Henri, Penfolds Bin 389, as well as the Wynns Coonawarra range, the Seppelts range, a lot of different products there. Now I'm working for Maison Eros in McLaren Vale, who have a vineyard in close to the town of Wollonga on quite loamy soils. It's quite an established vineyard. The vines at different stages are between 30 and 50 years old, and we're starting to make a few products from there now, which has all been pretty good and pretty interesting. So our first releases have just been bottled, and we're about to release them. Perhaps a little bit more information on the McLaren Vale district, and also particularly the Maison Eros vineyard. McLaren Vale is known for its very Mediterranean climate, so cold winters and quite warm summers, moderated by the fact that we're very close to the sea. So McLaren Vale's quite a famous district in Australia, a little bit different to the Barossa, because the Barossa is more inland. We're just on the coast, between the coast and the hills. And in fact, the Maison Eros vineyard is closer to the Wollonga Hills, so gives it a little bit more rain there, a little bit cooler climate. Soils are sandy loam, so good for grape growing, fertile but not too fertile that the vines grow too much. And we tried to work to the principles of sustainable viticulture, where we're not trying to add any manufactured chemicals, do it the more natural way, and look after the vineyard and the soil. So that's where Maison Eros is. Today we're going to look at a grape juice we've made from the 2022 vintage, a Chardonnay from the 2022 vintage, and a Shiraz from the 2020 vintage, which was our first vintage that we actually made wine from this vineyard. Okay. I'll just open this. Okay, as I said, the first wine is a sparkling grape juice, and it's been made from Shiraz grapes off our McLaren Vale vineyard. So when we're making grape juice, we don't want any alcohol in there, so we crush it harvest it and crush it as per normal, but we don't leave it on skins for very much. We want the colour and the tannins to be extracted, the flavour, but we only left this wine on skins for 24 hours. And that was enough time to extract all that colour and the flavour, and no fermentation. And then we kept it cold after that, so that the fermentation didn't start in the wine, and that's allowed us to stop any alcohol generating in the wine, because the alcohol is generated by the fermentation of the sugar. So we're quite happy that this has produced a good product. We bottled it quite quickly after vintage, to capture all those fresh fruit flavours, to make it a good sparkling red wine, red wine juice. And you can see here that the colour is quite bright and very attractive, lots of young, fresh crimson colours, which is a good thing for us. And this is actually McLaren Vale Shiraz. I mean, a lot of other grape juices, sparkling grape juices you might find on the market are not necessarily Shiraz, nor are they from McLaren Vale. So this makes this one a little bit more premium than lots of others, and hopefully you'll appreciate it because the colour is nice and rich, which is typical of the McLaren Vale district, and it's got lovely lifted sort of grapefruity characters, a little bit of spice because it's Shiraz, but a very fresh fruit character about it. And on the palate, it's because it's sparkling, it doesn't taste sweet. It's lovely sort of grape juicy character and a nice dry finish. So even though there's quite a bit of sugar still left in the wine, residual sugar, it still tastes quite dry. So it's a good long flavour that it leaves, and you could have that as a wine, as a drink that you have with a meal, or you could just drink it by itself because it's pretty harmless. Looks good. Okay, next one. Then we have our 2022 Chardonnay, McLaren Vale Chardonnay. We also grow McLaren Chardonnay on the vineyard, and the Chardonnay comes off a little bit earlier than the Shiraz. That's the first grape we pick, and because it's a white grape, they ripen a little bit earlier in McLaren Vale. But McLaren Vale is quite a good area for Chardonnay, and we let it get a little bit riper so it gets those nice melon fruit characters of Chardonnay, richer, riper characters. Nice light colour, very attractive, and it's very fruity. Yeah, you can see that ripe melon character on the nose. Maybe a touch of oak, but not too much. It's very much background. Gives a little bit of extra complexity to the wine. And then a nice long flavour, rich and complex on the palate, and then it stays in your mouth for a while. So it's very good, and very good food wine, you know, but you need a full flavoured food with this one, because this is a rich wine. It's Chardonnay's a very rich character about it, and this is certainly a good style. Okay, then we have a 2022 Shiraz. I'm sorry there, I just drank on TV, so you'll have to cut that out. Okay, so this is our 2020 McLaren Vale Shiraz. Just bottled, so it's only had a little bit of time to settle down, but again, like the grape juice, a very deep, rich red colour, black red colour. Perhaps not the crimsons that the grape juice has got, because this has had 2 years maturation in oak barrels, so it's matured in that time, and the colour evolves and goes a little bit more brick red sort of type colour, but nice and rich and spicy on the nose, quite complex. I mean, there's a little bit of oak there, but there's also the spiciness of the Shiraz in the character, and that nice ripe sort of character. So it's looking good. And then lovely rich flavour. It does linger, quite nice flavour, and sweetness on the palate, which is what you want. And then those tannins give you a nice long finish to it. So it looks very good. A very typical, rich, flavoursome McLaren Vale Shiraz. Again, for this you would need very full flavoured food, particularly meat of some sort. Red meat would be good to go with this wine. It needs something big and bold in flavour to match the big and bold flavours in this wine. But this is a wine that you could keep for quite a few years, at least 10 years if you wanted to. It's certainly got the intensity and the flavour and the structure to take quite a bit of bottle age. So, and you'll enjoy it when it's a little bit more complex and softer. So yeah, hope you enjoy this wine. Cheers. Any good?